Story recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a drama film called Cruel Intentions 2. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The principal, named Mr. Freeman, expels a troublemaker student, Sebastian Valmont, after several malicious activities in their school. The principal is insistent on forwarding Sebastian's permanent record to his new school, venturing his chance at a fresh start. However, the troublemaker jokingly remarks about Mr. Freeman's wife and inquires about her well-being, as if he's up to something. Mr. Freeman feels suspicious, but he answers Sebastian's questions and then drags him to the office's door, pushing him to go. Mr. Freeman's wife calls her husband right away and instructs him to turn to one of the pages in the yearbook. Apparently, Sebastian's farewell gift is a naked photo of Mrs. Freeman in the yearbook. As the student boards a taxi to drive into the airport going to New York, Mr. Freeman yells frustratingly at Sebastian from the window. On the other hand, the unbothered student is seemingly eager to begin a new chapter in his life. One afternoon, Sebastian finally arrives in New York City and discovers his new wealthy life when he learns that his father's new wife owns an entire building. His father, Edward Valmont, greets him, introducing him to Tiffany Valmont, his stepmother. After Sebastian tries to be naughty around her, Tiffany makes a great impression. Sebastian then meets his deceitful and determined stepsister, Kathryn. Despite outdoing her with their Steinway piano and correcting her vocabulary during dinner, Kathryn remains humble in front of everyone. However, Tiffany urges her daughter to do better than him, leading Kathryn to interrupt him in the shower, demanding to stay out of her way. After she confronts him, she naughtily checks out his shaft and leaves. The following morning, Sebastian and Kathryn take a limo into their exclusive prep. While Sebastian has difficulty fixing his new uniform, Kathryn insults him, but he remains unbothered. He then mocks Kathryn as she practices her orientation speech. After the simultaneous remarks towards each other, they finally arrive at Manchester Prep. Meanwhile, while waiting to meet his new headmaster, Sebastian encounters a student, Danielle Sherman, telling her she's beautiful. She is stunned at first but then expresses her gratitude while feeling awkward around him. When the headmaster summons him inside, Sebastian strikes a joke about the headmaster, trying to make Danielle laugh. Sebastian meets the headmaster inside the office, who describes Sebastian's files as impressive but perhaps too impressive. It turns out that Sebastian managed to swap his permanent record for an excellent one before it was sent to the headmaster's office, hoping to have a fresh start. Still, the new headmaster welcomes him to Manchester Prep, expecting him to be an additional asset to their school. Danielle then comes in and kisses the headmaster. Sebastian is astounded at first but soon discovers that the girl's name is Danielle, and she's the headmaster's daughter. That morning, Kathryn gives a speech to her classmates during the school assembly. Cherie, a new student, frequently interrupts Kathryn's speech with her uncontrollable hiccups, who later choke on the gum she was chewing to stop herself from it. Danielle saves her by performing the Heimlich maneuver, allowing Cherie to expel the gum. The assembly unexpectedly ends due to what happened. Everyone compliments Danielle for saving the new student while Kathryn is left alone on the stage with Cherie's gum on her hair. Later that day, Kathryn discovers that she has gym and ballet, two of her least favorite classes in her schedule. She tracks down Muller, the assistant headmaster, and threatens to expose their relationship, to which she insisted. The sociopath student walks away like an innocent angel after Mr. Muller tells her that he will change her schedule. Meanwhile, Sebastian spots Danielle working at a bookstore after school and charms the owner into letting Danielle out for a cup of coffee. At the same time, at the attic of one of the administration buildings, Kathryn presides over a meeting under the secret club called Manchester Prep Tribunal, deciding upon the fate of the new students. This leads them to Cherie, the student with the hiccups. According to their investigation, Cherie is naive and stupid, but Cherie's family is wealthier than Kathryn. This, along with the assembly events, causes Kathryn to seek a vendetta against her, planning to turn Cherie into the school's most famous call girl. It reveals that the tribunal essentially destroys other students' lives and discreetly controls the school. That evening, Kathryn takes Cherie to a nightclub and serves Cherie cocktails, which she thinks are just iced tea. Court Reynolds, a guy Kathryn knows, approaches Cherie and Kathryn. Kathryn then drags Cherie into the bathroom to inform her that Court is interested in her, to which Cherie inquires about what she should do. Kathryn advises her to allow Court to make love with her. Cherie admits she's never kissed a guy before, but Kathryn assures her to allow Court to do it for her. In the club, Kathryn commands Cherie to kiss Court, so they kiss, but Kathryn remains unsatisfied and explains to Cherie how to French kiss. When Cherie's lips are about to press against Court's, she vomits on his pants due to her intoxication. Court storms away, and Cherie hugs Kathryn in disappointment. On the other hand, Sebastian phone calls Danielle, who is surprised because she didn't even give him her phone number. After talking for an hour, he asks Danielle to be her tour guide on Saturday, but she tells him to take it slow. Sebastian clarifies that he's not asking her to date and hangs up. Kathryn arrives just as the act is about to end and captures the moment. She walks into his bed while teasing him about how Danielle rejects him. However, Sebastian tells Kathryn that that's not what happened, and he is way ahead of Kathryn. He then kicks her out in his room while being sarcastic about her. The following day, while Sebastian is sound asleep, his Asian housekeeper, Min Lin, leaves him a breakfast tray. Upon waking up, he accidentally tosses it, spilling food all over the floor. Minlin rushes in, terrified, and warns Sebastian not to tell anyone what has happened. Minlin appears to be frightened of her bosses, but Sebastian seems unbothered, assuring Minlin that no one will know about it. Meanwhile, Sebastian is taking a shower when the two brunette girls interrupt him, introducing themselves as Gretchen and Sarah, who had a sleepover with Kathryn. They join him in the shower as they are getting late for school. They casually take off their robes and shower themselves while Sebastian stands there in awe as he watches them. While showering, they inform him of the school's true nature as they kiss in front of him and leave him hanging. At school, Kathryn discovers that she has not been excused from the ballet class. She tries to hit on her instructor, but she fails and storms off. However, the instructor notices a male student walking by, and it turns out that he is attracted to guys instead. A little while later, Kathryn returns to assistant headmaster Muller, enraged that he didn't remove her ballet class. Mr. Muller feels wrong but at the same time feels torn between his job and Kathryn. As Kathryn sits at his office table, she spreads her legs to tease him and commands him to beg on his knees for her. She agrees to take the ballet class, expecting to need him for a greater favor next time. On the other hand, after failing a French test, Cherie asks Danielle to tutor her by paying $200 per hour. Danielle agrees to train her even without paying as she considers Cherie as her friend. Cherie then notices a phone ringing inside Danielle's bag. Danielle is surprised as she doesn't have a phone, but still, she picks up the ringing phone with a heart note on it. It turns out Sebastian puts it in her bag to confess his feelings for her. He asks Danielle to meet her at school grounds. Sebastian kisses her off guard with her eyes closed, causing Danielle to walk out, throwing the phone at him. Kathryn mocks him as she witnesses the tension between Danielle and Sebastian after he tries to be romantic with her. Later that evening, Kathryn finds their servants having fun with Sebastian. They are playing cards while drinking and smoking, chilling as if they own the mansion. She threatens to tell Tiffany, but Sebastian assures everyone that no one will find out. He even tells her that she mistreats her servants, so it's no surprise they don't respect her, to which Kathryn justifies that they pay the staff for their services, not for their respect. Sebastian then tells Kathryn that they're still human beings, causing her to walk away in tears. Still, Sebastian follows her and asks why she would do bad things. Kathryn explains to Sebastian that living there, under Tiffany's standards, is difficult. Her answer doesn't make sense to Sebastian, causing him to answer the phone call that interrupts their conversation instead. On the other line of the call is Cherie, telling Sebastian how crazy Danielle is for him by making her moist. Sebastian doesn't get it, but Cherie means that is by making her eyes wet. Cherie informs her to go after Danielle, who is eating at her favorite restaurant on the riverside. Sebastian immediately hangs up the phone and heads into the riverside. Later that night, Danielle walks along the Brooklyn Bridge waterfront when she hears a strange violin noise being played by Sebastian. He inquires about why she was so upset over the kiss, but Danielle advises him to be himself and be truthful. He says he can't because he's terrified and asks her what she fears. Danielle tells him she's afraid she'll miss her train home, so she rushes away in a taxi. The following day, Kathryn promises Min Lin that she's not telling Tiffany about the card game as she tries to get to know Min Lin. When Min Lin opens up about her life, Kathryn compares her struggles to her, telling her that they have a lot in common, to which Min Lin asks if Kathryn needs anything as she dismisses Kathryn's claim. Meanwhile, as Kathryn brags to her friends about humiliating Cherie a few nights ago, she receives a loud and clear message from Cherie across the school hall. Cherie tells her while everyone is listening that everything is set for their sleepover at the weekend, following Cherie's mother's request to speak with Kathryn's mother. On the other hand, Danielle approaches Sebastian to tell why she was upset when he kissed her last time. Danielle reveals that it was her first kiss, and she wanted everything to be perfect, but she was terrified that Sebastian had been with a lot of girls she couldn't compare herself to. The bell rings, and before Danielle leaves, she kisses him then goes. Danielle walks back as she faces him, assuring him that everything is alright now. Meanwhile, Kathryn appears behind Sebastian and threatens him with ruining the romance because she's bored. Kathryn declares war and walks away. However, Sebastian threatens her back and agrees to go to war while dragging Kathryn through the mud of the school's garden. Later that day, Tiffany spends quality time with her daughter by having a massage. While relaxing, Tiffany tells Kathryn to befriend the new student to encourage Cherie's mother to donate a large amount of money to the school. Sebastian enters, and Tiffany notices that he is tense, so he offers him a massage. Sebastian enthusiastically agrees as he sees the two beautiful blonde therapists. Kathryn has suddenly lost her desire for a massage and offers her spot to Sebastian. While Sebastian stands close to them, the two gorgeous women work on Sebastian's thighs. As the ladies remove his pants, Sebastian repeats unpleasant phrases over and over to avoid becoming aroused. While enjoying the massage, Sebastian freaks out after discovering that Tiffany is the one massaging him. Tiffany calms him down then discusses how they can get to know each other better. She wants to get along with Edward, but she finds it difficult because he constantly works on his yacht. Tiffany is pleased that Edward is working on his boat, but she warns Sebastian that if he is caught cheating on her in any way, they will be arrested. She slams Sebastian's bump before leaving. That evening, Sebastian decides to pay his father a visit aboard his yacht. He creeps to the yacht's bedroom, but he hears a couple of noises inside. Before entering the room, he makes a call to his father. Edward is lying on the bed, wearing only his underwear while his hands are above his head and head resting on a pillow. Sebastian opens the first door and says he's looking for the cat. Edward is appalled that Sebastian thinks he was cheating on Tiffany. Sebastian then opens the second door and walks over to his father. He removes the pillow on his head and discovers that Edward is handcuffed. He continues opening the door, and behind the last door appears a beautiful young girl named Lily, wearing lingerie. Sebastian then tells Lily that his father is a happily married man. Edward tries to persuade Lily by claiming that his wife is elderly and about to die, but Lily is unconvinced. She dismisses him and walks away. Sebastian warns Edward as he asks his son to hand him the keys to the handcuffs. Sebastian teaches his father a lesson by throwing the keys out the window and walks away. Later that night, Sebastian tries to console Lily on the docks, but she misinterprets his words and kisses him after giving her advice. He rejects her and informs her that he has an oral report the next day, to which Lily tells him that she's good at orals. Still, Sebastian dismisses her offer and heads home. On the other hand, while Kathryn and Tiffany are having a get-together with Cherie and her mother, Bunny, Edward enters the house with the handcuffs while Tiffany has her head bowed. Kathryn notices him as he flees to the kitchen. She excuses herself to see him and tells Edward that their family is just getting started. As a result, Kathryn gives Edward a list of things to make Tiffany happy, and he assures her that she is such a good daughter and that she will make her mother happy. The following day, Kathryn takes Cherie out for horseback riding. She teaches Cherie how to properly ride a horse by explaining and commanding her step by step. She tells Cherie to go up and down, back and forth, over and over again until Cherie falls over with a smile on her face. After experiencing great pleasure in the saddle, she tells Kathryn that she understands why girls enjoy horseback riding. Sebastian, on the other hand, is out on a date with Danielle. They are kissing passionately in the park. After telling him she's tired of being the good girl, she teases him a little by drawing her sweater's zipper up and down, revealing her underwear. She massages his lap when all of a sudden, her phone rings just as she's about to lay down on him. His father orders her to get home. Sebastian's hardness is still raging in his pants as she walks away. While out shopping, Blaine, the investigator of Manchester's tribunal, approaches Kathryn claiming to have recovered Sebastian's original file. That night, Kathryn walks into Sebastian's room just as he is about to see Danielle. She hands him his record and threatens him to expose it in their school. Kathryn informs him that upon discovering his records, it turns her on, telling him that he can never change. She wears lingerie as she expresses her desire to have him. For a moment, he surrenders to temptation, but he still manages to resist, telling Kathryn that he tries to change, but she tells him that he may die trying. Sebastian leaves to see Danielle. When he's away, Kathryn then dials Danielle's number. It's raining outside, and finally, Sebastian runs into Danielle's house. While he shares to Danielle what Kathryn is up to, Danielle comforts her and asks if he believes in their love, to which Sebastian reluctantly responds that he believes in their love. However, Danielle says she's not. Kathryn then walks out of Danielle's closet, revealing that Danielle's good deeds are a trick and that she has been a bad girl all along. Danielle kisses Kathryn, making Sebastian feel confused and defeated. Danielle then tells him if he can't beat them, join them. Kathryn heads to Sebastian and kisses him. After kissing him, she pushes Danielle and Sebastian's heads to kiss, feeling delighted at her triumph. The following day, Cherie is riding her bike when suddenly a limo bumps her bicycle, crushing the cycle. The driver apologizes for her broken bike. Inside the car is Sebastian, who fiddles with his new camera. He then opens the window, offering Cherie a ride while the driver tosses the bike aside. Cherie gets inside the vehicle, and Sebastian manipulates her, telling her she can be a model, but she's not sexy. As a result, the unsuspecting girl tells him she can be sexy as she removes her coat and begins to pose for him. After taking a few shots in his camera, Sebastian grabs Cherie to kiss her, turning Cherie on and makes her move into him. While the two are having an intimate time at the back of the limo, Kathryn and Danielle smile at the front seat. In the end, Kathryn's playful plan against Sebastian and Cherie succeeded. She's able to ruin his love life by plotting it from the start, prompting Sebastian to get back to his old self when he is trying to change. When Kathryn sits inside the front seat of the limo, she seems glorious as she is content with her evil results of corrupting Sebastian and Cherie. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.